This time on episode 320 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we'll be discussing Legion Season 3, Episode 5, Chapter 24, and Season 3, Episode 6, Chapter 25, and your weekly Marvel news.
I'm Ryan from the Dad.io podcast, a show dedicated to dorky dads everywhere. Part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other dad-alicious geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
You have been granted clearance by Director Alfonso Mack Mackenzie. Stand by for a S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director SB.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Agent Michelle.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. We're a Marvel Comic Universe fan show. The show is recorded on Sunday, February 23rd, 2020, live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios, and broadcast stratosphere-wide via www.geeks.live. Come and join our live chat and chat with us as we record. Ladies, happy National Tile Day.
The house I'm moving into has all new tile.
Ooh, so it'll be really echoey.
Get that to look forward to.
I'm glad that you picked up on what kind of tile it was, because I was going to say, no, wait a minute. It's not those little RFID tiles that tell you where your keys are and where your cell phone are. It's the actual, ceramic tile that you put in your bathtubs, in your showers, on your fireplaces, and the bigger tiles that are like bricks on your patio. That sort of tile.
Yep.
So if you read into it, it was actually created in 2017 by the National Tile Association. There's some tile convention that happens at this point in time in February. So yeah, they created a National Tile Day in 3 years ago, 2017, 3 years old. Okay. I think we can move on.
Okay.
Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the multiple Marvel small screen series like Legion that we'll be discussing today, and the Marvel cinematic and comic book universes in general.
Because of chlamydia.
If you'd like to talk to us about chlamydia, you can visit our website, legendsofshield.com.
You can leave us a voicemail about how to avoid getting chlamydia at 844-THE-BUS-1. That's 844-843-2871.
You can tell us all about how you avoid the clap by visiting our Facebook page, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast.
You can find us on Twitter at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You can find our videos on YouTube at youtube.com/GonnaGeek.
You can tell your Amazon device to enable Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. skill.
And remember, no matter what they try to do, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a proud member of the GonnaGeek.com network.
Especially when we talk about chlamydia. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's part of the episodes that we'll be covering today.
There's no way this is the first time somebody's talked about chlamydia on a Gonna Geek podcast.
No, but as a clean rated podcast, I'm not sure.
It's a scientific term.
Okay, I agree. It's clean. I just don't know if people would be discussing it on a clean podcast. The other podcasts, I'm sure it was been brought up, especially the clap, but I don't know about chlamydia. Anyway, Lauren is missing out on this great STD discussion because she is still in the effects of moving. I know we were hoping to have her back today, but she cannot join us, and hopefully we'll have her for the Legion finale back next week.
Lauren would have so much to say about chlamydia, too. I'm sad.
The biological stuff. That's her wheelhouse. Anyway, we're hoping to have her back for the finale next week. In the meantime, let's get on with the main event. Another couple episodes of Legion. Chapter 24 of Legion aired July 22nd, 2019, and Chapter 25 of Legion aired July 29th, 2019. So we're within a year of when they aired on FX. Chapter 24 had a great creative team, right, Michelle?
This episode was directed by Arkasha Stevenson, has 9 directing credits starting in 2010, including 1 Pineapple, 6 episodes of Channel Zero, 1 Legion, 1 Briar Patch, and 1 brand new cherry flavor. There were 2 writers for this episode. First up is Olivia Dufault, 3 writing credits starting in 2019, including 2 episodes of Preacher and 5 Legion. And Ben H. Winters, 1 writing credit starting in 2019, which is this episode of Legion.
So wait a minute, wasn't Ben Winters on Supergirl? Or was that another Ben? What was Ben's last name? It wasn't Winters. Okay. Anyway,
I don't know.
We'll figure that out later. Haley, who was the creative team behind Chapter 25?
Well, the director was John Cameron, more of a producer than a director usually, but has 6 directing credits starting in 1978. Those credits include 1 episode of Xena Warrior Princess, 1 of Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, 1 of Fargo, and 4 of Legion. And then the episode was written by Noah Hawley, showrunner of the show, who has 9 writing credits starting in 2006. Those credits include 6 episodes of Bones, 3 of The Unusuals, 19 of Legion, for which he is the creator, and 23 of Fargo, for which he is also the creator.
I was mistaken. It was not Ben Winters. It was Ben Lockwood.
Yeah, that was a totally different person.
Yeah, go figure. All right, so we've given up on trying to relate the titles to the themes of the episode because it's just not working with Legion. Never really has since Chapter 1, but we tried to make it stick and it's just not going. But we will go over the themes of the episodes. Chapter 24 was a interesting one. It was like the one we had with David's parents a couple of episodes ago into, I don't even know what to call the land. Michelle, what was the land supposed to be called?
With Sydney?
Yeah.
The astral plane.
Okay, so it was the astral plane. It was where Oliver and Melanie went after last season. Now, I didn't think we were going to get them again, but we got them again. And that was actually Chapter 25, my mistake. Chapter 24 was All Out War, which was very difficult to get through. I think they portrayed war in Chapter 24 like war is supposed to be portrayed, with a bunch of nasty stuff happening.
Yeah, lots of nasty stuff. Where to begin? I mean, do we begin at the beginning with Lenny?
Oh,
Let's begin with Lenny, because we just had that amazing episode. She had her own inner light. We talked about it last time, and she just couldn't handle this situation. Definitely couldn't handle David anymore and took herself out of the picture.
She had this great moment of, I thought I was a narcissist. And really, David, it's all about you. It just has to be about you all the time. You. And now you want me to do something. I'm in this emotional state. Now you want me to go to war with you. You want me to do this now. And she just didn't want to be controlled anymore. She didn't want to be told what to do anymore. And the pain had gotten to her. So, yeah.
I think the biggest thing with Lenny was the fact that she held her child in her arms. The child was real, and David was trying to tell her it doesn't matter. And then she kind of pressed him on it, and he's like, well, no, I can't guarantee that if we change stuff that you will have your child back. And I think that she just couldn't handle it. She, like I said, had gone through that inner light, and I say inner light, and it's a Star Trek The Next Generation episode where Picard lives this whole other life in this entirely different society that they sent out a beacon, and it was meant to be the continuation of their society in terms of somebody experiencing it. And Lenny kind of got that with her daughter, because she was able to follow her daughter through her entire life, from birth all the way to death. And she missed out on a lot because it all happened within one little room, and she got little snippets every 10, 15, 20 years or something like that. But that's what she got. And that meant a lot to Lenny, especially because Lenny had never had anything like that before. And that was taken away from her, and she really wanted it back, and there's just no way to get it back.
Well, it was also in that moment that the baby went from like a thing that's going to happen into the future to this is the baby that I have with me right now, and losing all of that and losing her partner at the same time. Like, that's a big thing to lose. And then having just that, all that she had left was the drawing from her daughter.
And it was very graphic the way they did it. The way that she stabbed herself in the neck. I would have thought there would have been a lot more blood, but maybe they couldn't get away with that on FX. But it was very gruesome, a very gruesome way to die. And then basically as the blood was draining out of her brain, she then collapsed, and David came up to her, and there was nothing he could do. I do have a question about that. Would David's powers have been able to save her?
I don't think so. There has to be some sort of limitation on him. And I think like being able to heal people or bring people back to life, like that's too much to give to him.
He's the most strongest mutant ever, right?
Right. And as many times as he wants to call himself a god, he is not.
Okay. So I was thinking not necessarily bringing her back, but as you said, initially heal her. He could have healed the wound, and I think that's within his powers personally, but
his powers are more mental than that.
Yeah, he can't heal.
Okay.
I do think, though, that FX is letting this show get away with a lot this season. Like, especially, we had, the graphic nature of Lenny's death, but also there's been a lot of language and things in this season. I'm pretty sure I've heard more than one F-bomb in this season, and they just seem to be okay with paying whatever the fines are.
I have been saying that I had purchased this season, which I have, over on Prime, and I've been watching it on Prime. I did find it on one of my DVRs, and because these episodes have been so very emotionally turmoil for me to get through them, I decided, well, maybe I need the commercial breaks. So I went back to the DVR version, and I was watching that this morning, and the breaks help. The commercial breaks help, because if you're just assaulted without the commercial breaks as it continues to go on, it's a little bit much. And you're right, the profanity was in the aired versions.
Which a lot of the cable channels have been going towards that with a lot of their big name shows. Putting some profanity in there and just being willing to pay the fines. I know Breaking Bad did it. I want to say Walking Dead might have done it as well.
Well, in podcasting, it's always an interesting conundrum, because what is considered unclean in one area is clean in another. And the great example for the Gonna Geek Network is Canada and the US. Canada, you can say the S word until you're blue in the face, and it is not considered to be profane. Largely, I think, because of the French word merde, and you have the Quebec in French Canada up there. So it's just accepted up there, while here in the United States, it's considered to be a profane word, one of the 7 words that you're not supposed to say. And I don't know if late night cable TV is going towards that, or if they're paying fines. I honestly couldn't tell you. I know that this was discussed with Sci-Fi and The Expanse, and the producer basically kind of chuckled to himself because they let 1 or 2 fly in the last season that they were on Sci-Fi. He's like, yeah, well, next season it's not going to matter because we're streaming and we can do whatever we want when we stream. But yeah, I've noticed that it's very edgy, and this show in particular has been extremely edgy since chapter 1, season 1, and I wouldn't expect them to get any cleaner, really, as they charge to the end, because after this we only have 2 episodes left.
I'm excited.
I have some questions. Who exactly is the leader of Division? I mean, we saw a bunch of the group on the plane airship, whatever you want to call it, that seemed to be a communal lead, but I wasn't really pointing at you're the leader here.
I think whoever's standing on the bridge at the moment giving orders is who's in charge.
I think it's technically Ptolemy because he's the mainframe now and is the one coming up with the plans. I think he is technically the leader. But when I know David's husband was responsible for the money and getting funding.
You mean Clark's husband?
Yeah, Clark's husband. Yeah. Daniel. But he doesn't have a brain. Well, he doesn't have a mind anymore. I mean, his memories are all gone. So I guess he's not the leader anymore.
No. I thought he might be the leader too, but yeah, being the finance guy, that's a little bit different. Sid gave Ptolemy an order and he followed it. So I don't know if that was just because he was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, or Sid was in command at that particular time.
Maybe it's a chore wheel. Maybe like on Monday, it's Ptolemy. Tuesday, it's Sid. Wednesday, it's Clark. Maybe that's what it is.
I mean, I think they clearly have a senior leadership team, which is all of our named characters. I think technically Clark is probably in charge.
So when he was airlocked, who was in charge?
I did not see a clear chain of command. I didn't see any org charts on the wall. So I don't know who, his vice president is, who takes over. I guess it's a constitutional crisis on the Zeppelin.
Anyway, by the end of this, it's Sid.
Yeah.
Well, it's only 3 of them left at the end of these 2 episodes, really. It's just Sid and Carrie, right?
Farouk is out there.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere.
He's in the land without time.
Stirring the pot. How much do you guys trust Farouk?
I wouldn't.
How much of this is his fault?
All of it. He has considered himself to be the strategist. Nobody would do what he wanted to, so he went and did what he was going to do anyway and lured David up there, and he thought he could win based on his strategy alone, and he was wrong.
I think he underestimated how powerful David is.
He knew David was more powerful than him. At least.
Yeah, but he thought that he was clever enough to get around that fact. And I think it's because he, even knowing that David was more powerful than him, he still didn't realize how powerful he was.
And maybe the limitation is because Farouk still sees David as his child.
His beautiful boy.
Which is what everybody calls him.
I mean, I call him David.
Yeah, Farouk calling David just because he knew David wanted to find Switch, wanted to use Switch as bait. He thought he was doing the whole spider, fly to the spider sort of deal, but it was just, you invited the wolf to the den. That's what you did, Farouk. You invited the wolf into the den.
Although I don't think just hiding out in the stratosphere or above the stratosphere was really going to work either. Eventually, David would have found them.
But they went to space.
And that solves everything. Aliens.
No, it just makes it more awful when you send people outside because then okay, technically, the blood boils and then you freeze and then you die. I can't remember the order of what happens when you end up going. Yeah. I know there's supposed to be an order about how your blood seems to boil and then you choke on that. But anyway, you die when you end up in space.
Unprotected. Yeah. Most people do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what would happen. I don't know. I mean, they go into space. This is Marvel Universe, right? So you would have Captain Marvel around, you would have Thanos around, you would have, all those space Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a little chance that you might survive.
Well, except that at the time this show was made, those were not a shared universe.
We had a little discussion about where this is as per what we saw last week, especially with David's parents. And we were postulating that we're probably in the 70s or 80s real time with David.
I think the 70s.
But that's assuming that Gabrielle was in the Nazi camps. And they didn't specify that. They just specified camps.
I think it's got to be the Nazi camps. It's gypsies and Jews and homosexuals and political enemies.
Agreed. I would completely agree with you, but there's a chance that this is an alternate Earth and that this alternate Earth didn't have Nazis. It was something else.
Or it's Hydra camps or, whatever their Nazis are. I think it's very much like that. That was World War II that Xavier was in. It was the 50s when they were in that mental hospital and when they were in the house with David. And from the beginning, this show has looked very much in the style of the 70s.
So Sid almost tricks David. She comes up to him and she switches places with him. Do you think that was her plan the entire time once the ship was boarded?
I think it was her plan from the time she saw David.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of thinking too, that she kind of made it up as it was going on because it was the only card she had to play, really. And it was interesting that we saw Legion. We saw David in his many iterations. And we've seen before, but I don't know if they said we're Legion before, did they?
I think this is the first time he's called himself Legion.
So we finally get the namesake of the TV show. But I'm not sure, can only one instance of David exist outside his little dwelling?
No.
So they could all come out.
Right. David's body is the house for them all. The David that we've been knowing, was the one keeping them all, locked up. But without, David Prime, his mind just becomes, all those different aspects of him, personalities, however you want to describe his mental illness, it just kind of all comes out. It's difficult to describe.
I'm surprised that they're showing them all looking like David. The only other time I've seen, I don't know if they called him Legion, but in the X-Men cartoon from the 90s, you meet Xavier's son. I think they called him Prometheus in that. But his multiple personalities each had a completely different person. So, one was an older man, one was a middle-aged woman. They were all different people. And I'm surprised they didn't do something like that for this show.
I have no experience with it, so thank you for educating me. I didn't know what to think of it. Is there anything else about War that we want to go through? I mean, he finds Switch, and Sid was acquiescing that from the beginning, that he was going to find Switch anyway.
That was a trap. That was a clever ruse.
And he gets to leave with Switch. David leaves with Switch, and then you have the remnants of what's going on. Sid's mind what happened to Sid's mind at the end of War?
He wiped it. We find out in the next episode that it ended up in the astral plane, but basically he eliminated it from here. Which makes me think that's probably where Clark's husband's mind is as well, is in the astral plane.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff could be there because this has happened quite a bit.
Yep. Also, Sid tried to kill David. That was a new development.
She's tried to kill David before.
Yeah, but she got real close this time.
Fair.
Yeah, with Carrie's help.
If Carrie hadn't hesitated.
Well, yeah, there was that whole moment of, no, it's me, Sid, at David's body. And then Carrie was just like, oh, what about, yeah, it was that whole Sid, will you survive? And Sid's just like, no, just kill me. And then
She's like, yeah, I'll be fine. I'll hop out. Which I think was her just saying that to get Carrie to do it. Also.
Yeah, I don't know if she was going to hop out or not, but that would have
I don't know that she could.
That would have killed David's physical body.
Yes.
Anything else about war from either of you two?
David has a different plan.
Yes.
That's important to note for reasons.
Right, which I thought we were going to get into in the next episode, but we didn't because we went to the astral plane to recoup Sid.
You wanted to say something about Carrie?
Well, I was going to say Carrie was very severely injured in this episode, which is important in the next episode, and presumably the one after that.
I think it's more important for the one after that, but we see its effects.
Having not seen it, I can't say.
I haven't seen it either. Michelle is the only one that's seen all the way through that's been on the cast so far. So she's been my guide so far. All right, let's move on to chapter 25 in the astral plane, where we begin with Sid coming in as a baby. And we also got Oliver and Melanie, which I will admit I was wrong because I believe the last season when we talked about this, I said, we're not going to see Oliver and Melanie again. This was the last that we're going to see. And they brought them back for this episode. It was a very well done episode. If you hadn't been watching the series to date, you would have been confused as all get out. But
even if you had been, you probably were kind of confused.
Yeah, I took some time to try to figure out what was going on myself. And I came to terms with that they were in this astral plane and the rules were different there. And yeah, it just seemed the astral plane has always been interesting on the show. And we got it again. I don't know if this is the last time we're going to see it or not, but it was a whole society.
Well, remember the astral plane is vast. Before we saw Oliver in his ice house being protected. And then, of course, we've seen David do his astral fighting with Farouk. And here we start with this very pastoral scene with Melanie and Oliver calling each other husband and wife and getting Sid and Melanie thinking that she knew her from before. Oliver at the beginning was like, there was no before, there's just now, and we're raising her. And we're finding this stuff all over the place. Building a rock wall.
I'll admit, I thought that the wolf was David. And I don't think it was.
No.
I thought it was another aspect of Oliver.
No.
Well, yeah, I knew that by the end, but
yeah.
And there was another character that was important, Cynthia.
Who I thought was going to be another aspect of Sid, but also no.
And the important part there is that at the end, you had a rap battle because you can't have Oliver and not have any sort of rap or jazz or anything like that. And we got it. And in his characteristic yellow or white suit, I think it was yellow, with the martini. And he basically told Sydney at the end, not everybody wants to be saved. And Melanie, I believe, came up with, it's not us or them, it's us and them, which I think both of those statements are pretty important for Sid as she reintegrates into the real world.
Melanie makes a very good point. We raised you to be the person the world needs in order for it to be fixed.
And this whole episode could also be considered a Sid Inner Light episode because she comes back transfixed, having experienced an entire lifetime in over 20 minutes as well. Not all the way to death, but she grew up again over the course of the 20 minutes. And she comes back and she has a different hairstyle.
Because that's what, signifies things. Facial hair and a new hairstyle. Those are the two things.
Well, and a woman's getting ready to do serious things when she ties her hair back.
Yes. And takes off those earrings. But she didn't have any earrings to begin with.
Kind of figured she was just going to run on a treadmill or something.
It reminded me of a series of unfortunate events when Violet ties her hair every time she does some serious like thinking.
Well, at the very end of the episode, you had the time demons that were roaming around the ship, and they were trying to, they eat time, they eat people, they eat memories, whatever. And they had that time door that I'm not sure why David left it going.
He didn't mean to.
Why was it still going?
Because he sends Farouk to the space between time. So that just happened. Switch is out. They're up in space. They're going back far. And the time demons realize David is gone. And so they realize they could come back out. They know where Farouk is. They know Farouk is not on the ship. They know David is going back in time. They're coming out. That's why all these events happening, it's causing the door to stay open. David didn't do that.
Okay, so Sid gets Carrie to make another watch so that they can go in and use it. And that's how they escape the time demons. They end up in the time corridor. And the other event that happened, which the female Carrie was so damaged and she needed to fight, that they did the reintegration and transferred the damage from one to the other. And then she came out and was ready to go. And he was sitting down in a wheelchair. And he didn't want to do it, but he realized that this is what they were going to have to do in order to continue the fight and survive.
And they've been staying pretty separate for a while now.
I think last season it was brought up that he was trying to give her the chance to experience life. And matter of fact, she was the person that was the external for both of them for a while, wasn't it? She?
Well, there was something wrong last season. Like they couldn't come back together for a certain period of time.
Well, he was inside and she was outside, and she was not used to that. And then they fixed themselves and they, I guess, moved on. But yeah, they agreed that she was going to be out for a while now.
Yeah. He said that last season, I'm getting older. I don't know how much longer I'll be around, and I want to make sure you know how to survive on your own.
But they're all three of them. They're in the time corridor. I don't know if they have a plan or not, but it's the only way they could have survived off the time ship with all the time demons around.
But they're gonna win.
It's Legion, you never know, but I would assume that somebody's going to win.
I feel like the win might be in quotey fingers. Like they might win, but it's probably not going to be a happy ending.
Kind of like my meeting I had at work on Friday. It's a no-win situation. All right, anything else from that second episode, the Astral Plane episode?
Jason Mantzoukas was wonderful as Jerome Wolfe. This show, while yes, it's so weird, acting-wise, Aubrey Plaza was looked over, and why he wasn't even considered for, there's an Emmy for guest starring for an actor and actress for comedy and for a drama. Why he wasn't even considered was the way he, especially at the rap battle, one of the things abusers can do, and some do and such, is when they're attacked or when somebody tries to correct the behavior, they act hurt and weaker. And that's why Cynthia goes back. She's just like, oh, you're so injured and all that type of stuff. And it's like Jason Mantzoukas really sold it. It's like, yes, even I'm there believing that he's this broken individual, but no, he's just playing it up so he can get Cynthia back and show Oliver who actually wins.
Also, one moment that sticks out for me from the Astral Plane was when Sid ran into that heart, the broken heart, and that they just get bitter the longer that they're there. And I just thought that was an interesting commentary on relationships and what happens afterwards to your emotions and in the heart. Haley, do you feel better about what's been going on so far? Are you pretty good on the finale here?
Do you mean, am I not totally lost?
Yes.
I feel better this season than I think I usually do going towards the end for Legion. Like, as wacky as it's been, it's more straightforward than I think season 1 or 2 was.
Do you happen to have any predictions for the next couple of episodes?
I think they might kill baby David.
It's an interesting one. I don't know the comic book background, so I don't know if that happens in the comic books or not. But I could see that happening in the show.
I don't know much about it either.
It would be a singular way to stop everything from happening. I don't know what that does for Gabriel, though.
I think we might see Charles again.
Yeah, Michelle had a lot of issues, and so did I, but she was more vocal about it than I was, with how Charles Xavier was treated in the episode, the character. And yeah, I don't know if we're going to see him again or not, but it would be a shame to bring in the character of Charles Xavier and not use him more than once. I don't know. Maybe that's all that Marvel was letting them use. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like they chose to use a different actor than the one that has been established for the cinematic universe on Fox's side. So we at least know that this is not supposed to tie into that universe.
And I think with the events that have occurred with Marvel TV and Marvel Studios, I think that's a good assumption that I think Kevin Feige wants to break ranks with everything that's been done with Marvel TV so far, which will be interesting about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because that had more direct ties than anything else.
This wouldn't have been part of Marvel TV, though. This is more the Fox part.
Oh, yeah, I understand. You're talking like The Gifted and Legion, but it all came out of Marvel TV, the branch Marvel TV.
No, this would have come out of Fox Studios.
It was in conjunction with Marvel TV, just like the Netflix series.
Right, but they weren't building it to be part of that universe the way they were things like Runaways and Cloak and Dagger.
I don't know if Runaways and Cloak and Dagger were... They mentioned a couple things, I guess, but I don't know.
They were. I mean, if you're talking about how it was conceived to be, yes, it was part of the universe. Whether that's ever acknowledged by the movies, like, who knows? But the show was designed to be part of that universe.
It'll be interesting if they bring the Netflix series in. I've heard rumors that a few of the Netflix series will continue on Disney Plus, but I haven't heard anything about the Freeform, Hulu, or Fox stuff. I think that's all not connected. Anywho, any last thoughts about the penultimate Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode on Legion?
I'm excited to see it. Sorry, I won't get to discuss it.
Well, the next time you're back on, you can have your 1 or 2 shots, as you normally do if you feel strongly about something.
Maybe I'll text you something to include.
Sure. Next time, we'll be talking about the next 2 episodes, which conveniently are titled Chapter 26 and Chapter 27, which will be the final Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode on Legion.
Oh, for news this week, we are talking about some of the shows that are going to be on Disney Plus. We've learned that Falcon and the Winter Soldier will arrive in August on Disney Plus, while WandaVision is on track for a December premiere. And we don't have specific dates, but at least we have months yet. And then eventually we're going to get Loki, which is starring Tom Hiddleston, which is supposed to be in 2021. We've heard early 2021. That would be nice. So we're getting dates. We're starting to get dates for stuff coming up on Disney Plus.
Not that every series is going to be a grand slam home run like The Mandalorian was for the Star Wars universe over on Disney Plus, but I think that the combination of Marvel Studios encapsulating everything with Disney Plus being the outlet, I think we're going to get some really good series coming up. I'm really looking forward to these.
I think they're going to be pretty solid. When you do limited run shows, it's really easy to maintain quality. So that's kind of what I would expect.
And by limited run, we're talking about as low as 4 episodes per series, right?
6.
I think the longest one is 8.
Yeah. Well, What If is supposed to be, I think, 10 episodes, 8 or 10.
Yeah, but that's an anthology.
Yeah, but yeah, those are supposed to be 6 episodes. The Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and Loki. I've heard are supposed to be 6 episodes.
If they could pull them off like they did The Mandalorian, I'm fine with it, because Mandalorian, like I said, was, in my opinion, really well done. And I don't think Disney knew what they had when they actually aired it.
I think they did.
I don't know if they knew it would be received that well, because Star Wars fandom is very fickle. And there's good Star Wars stuff, and then there's Star Wars stuff that creates arguments. And I guess the Mandalorian was one that was considered good, and there wasn't too many arguments with it. Plus, we got Baby Yoda.
I mean, I'll stir this pot. It's because the main character was not a woman or a person of color, and those are the ones that the trollish fans troll the hardest about.
Perhaps. We also didn't really see the main character until the last episode.
Yeah.
Also, I'm told not to go on YouTube and search for Baby Yoda songs. I'm told not to, so I haven't done it, but I guess that's a thing.
Is that a rabbit hole?
It was something that I've been told that you probably don't want to do. So I don't know if somebody has done it and they want to respond back. I would like to hear your thoughts on it before I spend too much of my valuable time going down that rabbit hole.
All I know is that Clone Wars Season 7 has premiered.
I just have to watch the first 6 seasons, and then I'll be right on that.
Is it 6 or 7? Is this the 8th season or 7th season?
No, this is Season 7.
I think I watched like the first 5 or 6 episodes of the first season before it got pulled off Netflix the last time it got pulled off Netflix. And yep, still waiting to finish.
Yeah, I've been watching them on Disney Plus, and I have been enjoying them. But like you, I'm about 5 or 6 episodes in. I honestly don't know. And it's difficult knowing everything that we know going through them, but I'm just trying to enjoy them because I've heard it's wonderful writing.
Yeah, I've heard there's a point where it gets really, really, really good, but it is not in the first season.
No, first season, ugh, I don't know. There's all sorts of questions I have on how it's been put together, but I'm just putting it aside, going, okay, we're not going to march back here for the Star Wars universe, so just enjoy the ride. It's like the last Star Wars that I have not seen, and I get to experience it for the first time. So I'm just trying to enjoy it.
Okay.
On my new 4K TV.
Ooh.
It's not big, though. It's only 43 inches, and it's because my other TV. Anyway, that's a story for the
I'm
outtakes.
remembering the episode from The Office where Michael gets a plasma TV, and it's like a 17-inch plasma TV.
No, this is not something that bad. But anyway, yeah, that's it for the news this week. We're looking forward to perhaps having some more news next week, but this is an area of the year where there's just not going to be a lot of Marvel news. And we haven't even ramped up for the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7 premiere stuff yet. And we probably won't for another month or so.
Oh, I just realized this looking at the character list at the bottom of our show notes. He was calling her Little Bird, and their last name is Bird.
Right. I wonder, so Killjoys had Little Bird in it as well. I wonder if that origins for the writers for Killjoys was Legion.
Little Bird is a common nickname.
Okay.
Sansa's called Little Bird in the books by the Hound. For Game of Thrones fans.
I know we were going back and forth last time on whether the actor for young Sid was the same actor, and I did not go back and check that out.
I did. It's in the show notes. It is the same actor, Pearl Amanda Dixon, from chapters 12 and 23.
All right. So with that, and the closure of news and the closure of the open-end item from last time, I think Michelle and Haley are going to rap battle and get this one out.
Insert rap battle here.
Very clever comeback.
Rhyming, rhyming, rhyme, rhyme.
I want to thank Haley for joining us for her Singular Legion episode of the series here of season 3. And I want to thank our audience.
I did the first one.
Yeah, she's been here.
Oh, so you've done half of
Before.
them. Okay.
I talk about things.
Yes, you do. Anyway, I want to thank you for coming back for your final episode of Legion. And I want to thank our listeners for sticking with us for the 3 seasons of Legions that we have done.
Yeah, thank you to everyone that has gone on the wild and crazy Legion roller coaster with us. Maybe the next show we talk about will be a little more linear and straightforward.
Thank you to everyone who interacts with us, downloads with us, Twitters, all that type of stuff. We appreciate it.
We definitely do. And until next time, I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Agent Michelle.
See everybody next week. Bye.
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 Seriously, no more rap battle?
Rhymey, rhymey, rhymey. Smooth flow, rhyme.
Rhyme, rhyme, rhyme. Mic drop.
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, and also artists on pond5.com and audiojungle.net. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and do not represent Stargate Pioneer Productions, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation, Marvel Studios, and ABC. No infringement is intended. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2013 through 2020.